Paddy Pimblett reunites with his daughters after his win over Benoit Saint-Denis at UFC 329.
So much!
Sean O'Malley breaks down how Paddy Pimblett submitted Benoit Saint-Denis.
Get them out of here. I'm gonna show you how I fucking choked Benoit Saint-Denis. He fucking thought he could run in and fucking crack me, but he couldn't. He's short. First thing I did, I grabbed him in a fucking guillotine, high elbow, I fucking torqued it, but he rolled out nicely. But I fucking trapped his arm here. I trapped his fucking arm here. I put him in a dust. I was like right there. I put my fucking nutsack on the back of his fucking head, and I fucking squeezed, mate. Fucking good night, lad.
TJ Dillashaw has expressed skepticism about Conor McGregor's new approach, citing his recent emphasis on faith and religion as a potential hindrance to his return to form. In a recent interview on the Jackson podcast, Dillashaw questioned McGregor's mindset, suggesting that to successfully revive his career, he needs to recapture the mentality that once made him a dominant force. Dillashaw also noted that McGregor appeared nervous during his UFC 329 return and has lost the intimidating aura that once surrounded him.
New Conor God's plan. I want him to be the fucking man, like the guy that like no one can tell him fucking shit. He's sorry for nothing. Like that's the guy that's gonna get him back. You know. I will say though, he did not have the aura you're used to seeing, bro. Like his face just looked scared and confused. Like everyone could see it. I mean, he had the flag around him, and like usually everyone goes to his tune, and he's like standing at the referee. He's like, "Are you greasing me? Are you greasing me? Like, what's going on?" It's like, yo, that's not him. Like he's usually just like
a little nervous as hell.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I was picking Max Holloway. I picked Max Holloway.
Coach Ray Longo has become a believer in Paddy Pimblett's skills, following his impressive submission win over Benoit Saint-Denis at UFC 329, which lasted just 52 seconds. On the Anik Florian podcast, Longo revealed he was initially skeptical of the hype surrounding Pimblett, but after witnessing his recent fights, he's now fully convinced of the lightweight's elite status.
Pimblett and Plessis, I just had wrong from the beginning. For whatever reason, I thought they looked awkward. There was something, the chin's up in the air. There was always something, but I'm a believer now, and the kid is 1,000,000% a tough kid, got a good chin. I said it the last time. I think that Gaethje fight, even though it didn't go his way, proved to him a lot. He could take a beating from a guy that could give a beating, and he's not going away easy. His submission skills look point on.
Yeah.
And yeah, those two guys, I think I was tricked from the beginning, you know, maybe early, but they both 100% proved me wrong. And now Pimblett looks like he's in a great spot. Like he could pick where.
Henry Cejudo thinks Kamaru Usman has a clear route to a middleweight title shot. On the latest Pound for Pound podcast, Cejudo claimed that if Usman beats Dricus du Plessis this weekend, he should get a title shot ahead of Nassourdine Imavov, who's been waiting nearly a year for his chance to fight for the belt.
You know what I'm saying? I think it makes perfect sense. And I know you're kind of being nice about, you know, Nassourdine Imavov, but that's on him, bro. If Nassourdine Imavov cannot get that title shot, that has shit to do with you. If you're able to get that victory tomorrow night, I think it's plain and simple. You're next.
Yeah, I mean, no,
I don't see where the fuck he gets skipped, dude, in any way, shape, or form.
Well, yeah, let's being honest. I'm not saying I wouldn't take the title shot if they gave it to me. Absolutely, if I'm in that position, or when I'm in that position, absolutely, I would take that shot. And it's me just being rational and honest about it. You know, I feel that Imavov should have gotten his shot already. But I'm the same way. I should have gotten my shot before I eventually gotten my shot to fight for the title when I fought Woodley. So it's kind of one of those situations where you're kind of caught in the...
Bilal Muhammad has weighed in on Conor McGregor's recent injury, suggesting the Irishman is now experiencing a dose of his own medicine. In a recent video, Bilal noted that fighters like Dustin Poirier can't be blamed for finding humor in McGregor's misfortune, given that McGregor has a history of ridiculing his own opponents when they were down.
That are crying for him, like, oh man, look at all these fighters hating on him, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's the first to attack somebody if something bad happens in a fight. Somebody gets knocked out, he's going to laugh, he's going to tweet about it. So you got to be able to take it. He definitely understands it. And so the guys like Dustin Poirier and all these other guys calling him and kind of laughing at it. You can't hate on them because Conor would have did the same thing.
Bilal Muhammad recently announced his impending fatherhood. During yesterday's RAF 11 press conference, Colby Covington brutally roasted Bilal about the news.
As someone in the room, they were saying a lot of mean things about me.
Colby Covington.
You know, I'm going to take the high road, Bilal, and I'm going to congratulate you. I heard you just became a father, so, you know, congratulations. Can we give a round of applause for Bilal? He just became a father. So amazing. What a great step to go on the journey. But I just got one question to ask you, Bilal. Who the f let you hit? Bro, you're one of the ugliest motherfuckers I've seen in my life. That girl must look like a gargoyle.
All right, guys, let's get the questions started. All right, go ahead, Shane, kick us.
Jones answers about where he's at. Flag football, beating Doug Flutie, and the key line. He's still in the UFC drug testing pool.
And when I talked to IBA President Mark Kremlin, he has big plans. He even wants you to be competing in bare knuckle. He wants to arrange these boxing matches for you. Obviously, you officially retired last year. You've kept the door open a little bit. There might be an opportunity, but let's hear from you, Jon. Well, where are you at right now in your life and career? And is fighting in any kind of sport, whether it's bare knuckle, boxing, MMA, is that of interest to you?
I just did flag football recently. That was pretty intense. Our team beat Doug Flutie. That was pretty intense. It wasn't much combat sport, but it was competitive, which was fun. When it comes to me actually fighting anyone, I just keep the door open. I'm still in the UFC's drug testing pool. I get drug tested, blood tested all the time.
Living vicariously through Gable Steveson. Fans calling him Coach Jones, teaching everything he knows, and why he thinks putting somebody else on is what life's about.
I'm living vicariously through my buddy Gable Steveson right now. I tell everybody that, being backstage, being around the fans, seeing that passion, being in the training gym, I get to do it all over again through Gable. And so I'm giving him my absolute best, teaching him everything I know about the sport. And that's been really fulfilling for me. I think for a lot of fans as well. They're like, Jon, when are you gonna come back? And those same fans, they're like, hey, welcome back, Coach Jones, So I'm getting my itch. I feel like I'm giving their fans their itch, but I'm just doing it I'm doing it with a younger generation fighter. And I feel like that's what life's all about. As we grow and as we learn, as we progress, it's important to have our own prodigies, whether that's in journalism or photography or MMA. It's important to put somebody else on at some point in your life. And that's what I'm doing now. And honestly, it's fulfilling. Not as fulfilling as being in the ring or in the octagon, but it is scratching that itch. I can genuinely say I'm happy right now.
Jones admits he never answered the question. The door is open. He's letting time fly by focusing on someone else, but if he gets the calling, he'll answer it.
From what I'm gathering, it sounds like the door is still open. We don't know how many percent shut it is.
I never quite answered your question. I'm sorry. The door is open. Like I said, I'm still in that drug testing pool. I'm just allowing time to fly by focusing on somebody else. And if I feel like, Jon, if I get that calling, maybe from like the higher powers, just kind of that tugging, then I'm gonna have to answer that call. But right now, I feel like I'm in the right place, which is serving someone else.
Usyk is a heavyweight GOAT, notes his wrestling background, but refuses to handicap himself to only hands. Ends with the line about what would happen if they were locked in the same room.
And we'll get to Gable in a minute too, but just to talk about yourself, with Zuffa Boxing out there as well, and you being linked to this Alexander Usyk fight that he apparently has Wilder in mind and yourself for his final farewell fight. We know your situation with the UFC. It's been up and down, the contract, you've been wanting to renegotiate, get out of it, but would you be interested in that Alexander Usyk boxing match if it's presented to you?
No, not at all. Usyk is Usyk, man. He's one of the absolute GOATs of boxing, of heavyweight boxing. I also am aware that he does wrestling, and that wrestling has been a heavy part of his training for many years. It's probably why he's so dominant in the clinch. If he'd like to test his total combat skills, I would oblige him in that. But to handicap myself by only using my hands, I mean, that's not the world that I come from. So out of all of the heavyweight boxers, I do see Usyk having the highest potential and making it competitive. But I am no boxer, and I don't really consider Usyk to be a complete fighter. I think the world knows what would happen if we were locked in the same room. And I'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha. So definitely MMA, you would be interested, but boxing, you're going to pass.
I'm going to pass. Yeah.
Right.
The way I respect him in the ring, he should respect me in that octagon.
TJ suggests that Conor's aggressive opening kick was driven by his desire for a highlight reel finish against Max Holloway, hoping to land a viral knockout from the start. This approach, however, left him a bit loose, setting the stage for what would unfold next.
Loose, and then you start.
We've seen him do it before. He's a guy that plans his first move. I mean, look at Aldo. He's in the back practicing that step back and left cross because he knew Aldo was going to come at him. He like visualizes things so much. He picks his first move every time. And for whatever reason, he saw Max watching tape. He thought that was the right move to come out with. He just
implement
plans
like
those, you know.
Confidence strategy. Take a little more, like, you know.
Visualize it, it'll happen. Visualize it, it'll happen. It's happened his entire career. It got him to be the biggest star mixed martial arts has ever seen. And so that.
Meanwhile, Dricus du Plessis and Kamaru Usman successfully made weight today, making tomorrow's main event official.
185.5, the official weight for Dricus du Plessis. £186, the official weight for Kamaru Usman.
Today, the UFC announced that Jan Blachowicz will face Navajo Sterling in the co-main event of UFC Belgrade on August 1st. This bout will mark Jan's first fight since his majority draw against Bogdan Guskov last December. In an interview this week, Jan said he believes Alexa Pereira's loss to Cyril Gane was legitimate. According to Jan, Pereira looked slower than usual and wasn't as sharp as he had been in previous fights.
I think, you know, when what he had to have to say, you know, he gonna use it, you know. But anyway, he don't look good in this fight. With all respect to him, because I like him, I like very much Pereira. So, but anyway, you know, he don't look good in this fight. He was heavy, slow. Cyril was just better, you know. Even without this, you know, illegal punches, it's happened, you know, because he just punched because he feel that he can finish the fight. Pereira was moving a little bit, so it's hard to, you know, put everything correct. So he lost the fight. And
Conor McGregor has responded to speculation that he's back on drugs following his injury and loss to Max Holloway. The speculation began after McGregor posted a video to his Instagram a few days ago reflecting on the defeat, with many fans claiming he was acting strangely. This user replied to Conor saying, "You on the drugs again, bud." Conor responded, "I have not and will not take any mind-altering substances. I feel if the fight had went any different, favorably or otherwise, even if the fight got to take place at least, I may have cracked the seal on this and ended back in the cycle. However, it went the way it went, and I am awaiting my surgery and planning my recovery. So 0 mind-altering substances have entered my body whatsoever. More time under extreme discipline is required, and that is it. I find extreme discipline most enjoyable anyway, so happy days." Conor says his next fight has to be against Max Holloway. Conor replied to this post saying, "Would you like your last fight to be V's Chandler or Poirier? If not, is there anyone else?" Conor replied, "It has to be Holloway." Max Holloway's wife Alessa has been receiving backlash over comments she made on the Brotherly Time podcast over a year ago. A clip from the interview resurfaced on social media yesterday, in which Alessa said that she left Max on read for 5 years. She explained that after he remained persistent and she realized he was a big star in the UFC, she eventually became interested.
But yeah, so I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, I need to find a gym." He works out Tactical. Darren Yap, he's awesome. He's a hard though. Yeah. But he sent me that direction. He's like, "Hey, like we should hang out." And I already knew where this was going. I was like, damn, I think I fell for the trap. Whoa. Like, I think he was doing this for 5 years now. Like, he would come to my birthdays.
Persistent.
Oh, he would tell you, what's the saying, love?
Consistency.
No, he's saying, I'm just...
Consistency.
And he's like, he says, I'm planting the seed. So,
You can ask one of my friends, Michael Nakadal, Brandon Martin, our friends that know each other. But I'd always be like, oh, Red Tour on top one of her stories. You know what I mean? And she leave me on red. I was like, bro. She left me on red. That means she saw him. He
was very persistent.
Not even read him. Would have given me no hope. Like, man.
Again, I respected Max though. I know he was a great athlete from what I've heard. Again, I never watched UFC, nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a big deal till I got home. And then he's like, everybody's like, yeah, Max, how's it going? Can I get a picture? Blah, blah. I'm like, oh, shoot. I didn't say anything to him. I was like, oh, this guy must be, a big deal. So I had one of my friends be like, they were like, oh, you're hanging with Max. Do you not know? He's like a big deal here. And I was like, oh, really? He's like, he's about to fight too. And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, all right, I'll do my research. I was like, oh, dang, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that. I just thought he was a really nice guy. And again, very persistent. Yeah, which was like, I give him that. He wasn't creepy or anything, but I was like, man, this guy he's all on the gas right now.
Max Holloway and his wife Alessa recently discussed their relationship on the Brotherly Time podcast. The interview sparked significant fan criticism directed at Max and Alessa. Max Holloway has since addressed the backlash, stating, here's the context. She was engaged while leaving me on read for 5 years. Lol. So if anything, I'm an ass that kept reaching out. I lived by a code. Though if you have a BF and he can't defend your honor, you have a girlfriend. Haha. He emphasized that Alessa is a successful professional surfer with her own finances, urging critics to get the full story beyond clickbait. In other news, Kamaru Usman elaborates on why he has been calling himself a moneyweight fighter.
Yeah, for me, I've always said this, I'm a moneyweight fighter. So it's not about 85 or welter or 70. I can hit both. I'm not the biggest at both, and I'm not necessarily the smallest at both. Well, I might be the smallest at 85, but who knows? But for me, it doesn't matter. It's about, I feel that I have the skills to be able to compete at either one. So hey, if it makes sense, I might be it. I mean, it was always kind of a thought process, but it had to make sense. If I could go in right away and fight for the title up here, absolutely, I would have done it. But unfortunately, that just kind of wasn't in the cards back then. So now, like I said, I'm a moneyweight fighter. If there's an opportunity up at 85, I'll go take it. If there's an opportunity down at welterweight, I'll go take that. Nah, this was announced, what, like a month ago? A month and a half ago? It had nothing to do with that. I'm almost the exact same weight that I am, even when I'm getting down to welterweight. It's only, the only difference is when I'm getting down to welterweight, you obviously have to do some internal work to kind of shrink the body down a bit, but I'm still training at about the same exact weight. I'm not the biggest guy here, but at the end of the day, being a true gladiator and a true warrior, you don't go outside with a scale and say, oh, I'm not gonna fight you for a step on the scale. No, I'm a moneyweight.
Volkan Oezdemir has been suspended for 16 months after revealing he tested positive for EPO. On Instagram, he explained the positive test resulted from following a healthcare professional's recommendations, stating, I made a mistake, and I take full responsibility for it. Oezdemir recounted that in late 2025, after a competition in Qatar, a Swiss-based healthcare professional contacted him on Instagram. Posing as a supporter, this individual suggested a meeting, discussing investment opportunities, career prospects, post-retirement, and potential patronage. At 36 and recovering from ankle surgery, Oezdemir was intrigued by life beyond his fighting career. During a subsequent meeting, the focus shifted from business to Oezdemir's recovery. The professional presented a plan to achieve peak physical condition within 2 months, offering a substance he described as safe and undetectable, a vial of EPO. Oezdemir administered the first injection that evening, acknowledging it as the biggest mistake of my life and complying with instructions to keep it secret. Just 3 days later, the combat sports anti-doping team conducted an anti-doping test. On March 5th, Oezdemir received confirmation of his positive result. He described this moment as his illusion shattering, yet also a relief. He promptly informed and cooperated with both the UFC and SAD, leading to his 16-month suspension, a reduced penalty reflecting his cooperation and the mitigating circumstances. Oezdemir elaborated that the professional had initially approached him under false pretenses, preparing and providing the substances free of charge. He reflected on his lifelong independence, which, in this situation, became a weakness due to isolation. He now warns all athletes, particularly those in individual sports, about the inherent risks of isolation. Reiterating his full responsibility, Oezdemir emphasized that every athlete is responsible for what they put into their body. He shared his story to understand his own actions and to prevent similar incidents for other athletes, expressing deep regret to his sport, his fans, and his family. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest MMA news. See you in the next one.